Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. Nick Ball scored a fantastic one-round knockout. Very exciting fighter. He scored the win against a Mexican opponent called Jesus Ramirez Rubio. And I don't know much about Rubio, but I do know that he came in with a very impressive record of 20 wins, 1 defeat, 3 draws. Now, he'd been stopped by a guy who looks like a journeyman who had a 6-4 record, I think. 5 years ago, he got stopped in 3 rounds, but since then, I think he had 15 wins in a row, all in Mexico. Although that's not a bad thing because a lot of Mexican fighters in the lower weights are, underrated and like hidden gems a lot of the time. So Rubio had a pretty impressive record. Not all of his opponents have been great. He did have a few that had losing records, but sometimes these Mexican fighters come over to Britain and they're unknown and they show us a lot. Well, this wasn't the case because 26-year-old Mr. Rubio, Senor Rubio, got absolutely destroyed in 1 round by Nick Ball. I'm going to do a bit of a, you can have a laugh at me because I'm going to do a bit of a Mick Hennessy, because you remember when Mick Hennessy said about Huey Fury, shades of Muhammad Ali, shades of Ali. Well, Nick Ball, not stylistically entirely, but he did remind me a bit of Mike Tyson. Watching him. And it wasn't that he had a similar sort of bob and weave, getting close, high guard, and then explode. He did the explosion bit the same. But Ball tends to he calls himself Wrecking Ball, which is apt. But I think another sort of apropos nickname would be Fireball, because he is like that. He explodes on the opponent, walking in very quickly. His feet are real quick, gets in close. He's only 5'5", Nick Ball, and the Mexican opponent Rubio was 3 or 4 inches taller, maybe. But when he's in close, he explodes. But the thing is, the accuracy and the speed is what catches the opponents. Nick Ball scored, you probably saw it, a fantastic win over Isaac Lowe. That was his coming out party. That was on that Tyson Fury, Dillian White fight. And it was probably the only well, the undercard was terrible of that fight. But that particular fight, Isaac Lowe versus Nick Ball, was quite interesting. And that was his coming out party. And since then, he went 12. No, he didn't. He scored 12. Yeah, he went 12 rounds, but he scored a 12-round TKO over a guy called Kakalolo. Was that his name? Kakalolo? I'm not sure where he was from. That sounds like an African fighter. But that guy came in with a respectable record and gave Nick Ball trouble. Ball was never in. I say trouble, but he made it awkward, a little bit awkward for Nick. And so coming into this fight, you thought, well, maybe Jesus Rubio is going to perhaps be able to fiddle him around. Maybe he is one of those hidden Mexican gems. Wasn't a bit of it, no. Every time Ball just sort of walked in very quick with his feet and his fists. But once he's in punching range, the accuracy is very impressive. And he headhunts perhaps a bit too much. Maybe he should concentrate on the body a bit more. But who am I to say? Who am I to criticise? I am nitpicking here. Don't get me wrong, I'm nitpicking. But against Kakalolo, whatever his name was, the previous fight, I was thinking, go to the body more. He didn't need to against Jesus Rubio. He just smashed him to bits. It were 3 knockdowns. Am I right in saying that all 3 came with left hooks? Certainly the first 2 did. And Rubio was simply overwhelmed. He was getting up and he looked relatively steady on his feet. It wasn't like the knockdowns were leaving him with rubber legs. But after 3 rounds, obviously the writing's on the wall. I think Rubio for the first, the whole thing was over in less than 2 minutes, but for the first 40 or 50 seconds, Rubio was trying to sort of use his height and reach, but Ball just didn't allow it. And Rubio did make the mistake of exchanging, hence he got caught first time with the first left hook. But after 3 knockdowns, and again, he was just overwhelmed. He was just battered. It wasn't any one particular knockdown or punch that was getting him. It was just the whole explosion, if you like, the whole fireball of Nick Ball, the Wrecking Ball. Yeah, that's a very good nickname. And then Victor Loughlin stepped in after he was getting battered again, Rubio. So Victor Loughlin stepped in when he was on the ropes, when Rubio was sort of trapped on the ropes, and another knockdown looked imminent, and so Victor Loughlin jumped in. But I thought this was a very, very impressive performance by Nick Ball. I like watching him. He's so exciting. He's the WBC silver featherweight champ at the moment, and he's being brought along well, I think. I mean, I think there's, you know, he's had 3 fights this year. He signed, I think, signed to Frank Warren. This was on BT Sports, this card. And Warren seems to be, he's got himself a little bit of a gem there, I think. And I hope he continues to bring him on well. Warren does bring fighters on well. Not all of them. I mean, some of them don't really know. I'm thinking of the light heavyweight, Callum Johnson, is it? Who then he's been injured, hasn't he? And he's an exciting fighter, but for some reason he's disappeared. I think Warren got him a couple of gigs and he was ill or he was injured, but Nick Ball fortunately has stayed fit, and Warren's got himself a good little fighter here. And I think that certainly I would go for the European, maybe the British, maybe. I mean, he's like I say, he's got WBC silver title, but I always like to see fighters brought along incrementally, domestic, European, and then world level. But whichever road he takes, it's gonna be fun watching him. Nick Ball, very, very good, exciting little fighter. So check it out if you can. Well, it's on BT Sports. I don't know if you've subscribed to that. You might find it on YouTube. It's less than 2 minutes of mayhem, but good performance. Have a look at it. Tell me what you think. Leave your comments below. Thanks for watching. As always, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit the subscribe button. It just takes you a little second. And like the video if you like the video. But enjoy your weekend. Speak again soon. We've got more boxing this weekend, and I'll catch you later. Bye-bye for now.